Can you be on the left and support the Second Amendment? We're going to talk about it with Joe Drammissi next.
PRMI Mortgage, primeres.com/Alpine. Are you in the military? Are you looking for help for a VA loan? And if you're looking to buy or refi, or if you're just considering a reverse mortgage, you need to call our local mortgage guy that you can trust. Call Chris Wiley at PRMI Mortgage. For nearly 25 years, Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all their mortgage needs. Call Chris Wiley at 619-722-1303 or just go to primeres.com/Alpine. All right, Joe, what do you got for us?
So what we got today is, can the left support the Second Amendment? Or more specifically, can someone who self-identifies as leaning left be a Second Amendment supporter? And where this came from, actually, is a couple of weeks ago, Michael was reading an email on here from a member that was talking about that. And, I was thinking, after listening to that, I was thinking about it and said, is that possible? Does that make sense? Can you be a Second Amendment supporter and still be leaning left politically? So, I was thinking about that and figured, well, what the heck? Let's write about it and examine that question a little bit. So first off, if you define what do we mean by leaning left, and if you look it up in the dictionary, actually, it says sympathetic to or tending toward the left in politics. So if you use that definition and think about it, you can probably make some assumptions about someone, who describes himself as that way. Probably politically registered, I would think, as a Democrat or an independent, or if you're in California, you decline the state. Probably they get a lot of their information from CNN, MSNBC, KPBS, places like that. They may believe the riots in 2020 were mostly peaceful protests and America is racist and oppressive. And again, I'm just looking at, general, the general impression. If somebody says, okay, they're left in terms of their politics, these are things that are probably, reasonably, common, say, for someone who, who believes that way. Probably have a strong dislike for President Trump. Maybe pro-choice, but believe in vaccine mandates. So, different generalizations, I guess you could make. I mean, you could do the same thing with someone who says they lean right. There's probably a number of things that would be typical there. So then if you think about, okay, what's it mean to support the Second Amendment? Because different people support the Second Amendment in different ways. Some people support organizations like ours, like San Diego County Gun Owners. They support those kinds of organizations either with money or with time or with both. They may write about Second Amendment issues. They may speak at events. They may do a number of different things to maybe help educate people about the Second Amendment and that kind of thing. People probably do that lots of different ways, or they support the Second Amendment lots of different ways. What they probably don't do as a Second Amendment supporter is vote for politicians that aggressively pursue policies that degrade the Second Amendment or that degrade our Second Amendment rights. So that's kind of what I was looking at is, okay, can you do both? And, a lot of times we look at it like in this country nowadays, I think it's hard. We unfortunately have two, politically, if you're going to vote and participate, you really only have two choices. I mean, it's Republican or Democrat. That's really what you got here in this country. Good or bad, that's how it is now. And years ago, and by years I mean maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you could vote. There could be Democrat politicians say that support the Second Amendment. They're to the left on some issues. They're to the right on other issues. And you could probably say the same about Republicans. I think nowadays we're so polarized in the country that pretty much, if you're going to be a politician and you're going to run as a Democratic, politician or Democrat, you pretty much have to support gun control because that party has made it a central part of their platform. I mean, that's essentially what they talk about is gun control. I think if you're a Democrat, they don't. What they used to call them? Was it blue dog Democrats? Is that how you used to refer to it?
So blue dog Democrats were economically or financially conservative. Blue steel Democrats are pro Second Amendment.
Okay, are or were?
Are.
Okay, so and that's good. It's just it's hard to see how are they going to get the support from their party to do that kind of stuff. considering how hard over the party is right now. It's just what we've evolved to today. So I think as a if you're going to be a Second Amendment supporter, I guess, or if you're going to say you're a Second Amendment supporter, there's a difference between owning a gun and being a Second Amendment supporter. I mean, you would think people that own guns would support the Second Amendment, but again, it's hard to say you support the Second Amendment yet you vote for people that are trying to destroy it. So I'm not sure that that you can actually do that. I think maybe in the past you might have been able to, but I think nowadays you end up being just, okay, you're a gun owner, but not necessarily a Second Amendment supporter. So it's like, owning a guitar and not being a musician, really. Just because you own a guitar doesn't make you a musician. It's because you own a gun doesn't necessarily make you a Second Amendment supporter. But Michael, jump in here. You're allowed to comment on this.
I think that you're painting an extremely accurate picture and portrayal of what's happening right now.
Right now, that's what I'm talking about.
In my position and in my job, I can't live in right now. My job is to change the future. So
okay.
I can't say, hey, you know what? These are how things are right now. Therefore, I'm going to deal with things as there's very reactionary. I have to be proactive. I have to say, hey, you know what? Democrats are in power. They're becoming more and more popular. We have to change their views. We have to move their needle. I can't say, well, let's see what they believe and then react to it. I have to make things happen. I have to go in and say, hey, things are going to be different. Total coincidence that we had James on the line here. James is someone you're describing. He wants, you name the progressive policy, he wants it. He wants, universal basic income. He wants health care for everybody. He wants it to be quote unquote free. He wants fairly open borders.
Yeah.
You name the policy, but he also doesn't want any laws restricting you from buying any kind of AR. He thinks CCWs are too much. He thinks that people should just be able to carry as long as they can legally own the gun. He doesn't like magazine bans. Go down the list. He agrees with us wholeheartedly, but he still votes for people who support exactly like you said, and that bothers me. It bothers me because, like you said, well, gee, how are we going to make a difference here if you're voting for someone that wants to destroy or at least doesn't want to defend the Second Amendment, even though you agree with? And I totally get that. But the other thing I've seen James do is he sits down with candidates and says, look, here's how it is. And he fights it out going into the primary and moves the needle. Now, has he convinced every single Democrat in every single situation that, hey, they're wrong and now they're all on our side? No, of course not. That's a huge, Herculean task. But what I have seen him do, I've seen him educate people. I've seen him change minds. I've seen one guy move the needle a little bit. And the problem is we don't have enough one guys moving the needle a little bit. And I'm trying to be, in fact, not trying, we're successfully being that person, that are moving the needle. Now, right now, the Democratic Party is very hostile towards the Second Amendment. But I can't live in that. I can't live in that reality. I got to look to the future and say, hey, this has to change. So, and the Republicans, don't even get me started. The Republican Party is little more than the second worst party when it comes to the Second Amendment.
I agree with you 100%.
So what you're saying is totally accurate. And I hate that people, vote against their Second Amendment values. But I got to move the needle. We can't stay there. We can't live within that reality. And I think that the solution is to change hearts and minds. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do, but that's what's happening successfully too. But if we just reject them out of hand, it's not going to work. It's not going to ever happen. We're not going to shame them into it.
No, and it's not rejecting them, and it's just that, again, answering the question, can you be both? And I don't know that you can right now.
And my job is to make my job is to make it so you can. Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.